Hey there, Morbid Maniacs! It's time for another spooky video, and for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking all about the Amityville Horror and the true events which took place. Located in Long Island, New York, it all started on November 13th, 1974, when a man by the name of Ronald Defeo Jr. shot and killed his mother, father, and 4 siblings, all while they were sleeping. He told the police that he had found the bodies in the locked house, but upon finding the bodies, he took a shower and then raced to a bar down the street in a fit of hysteria. After just 2 days, he was in for 6-degree murder charges. He is still alive to this day, and he's serving his 25 life sentences in a New York correctional facility. What makes this really creepy, and kind of what started the whole haunting of the Amityville house, is that he claimed that he heard disembodied voices telling him to murder his family. He has changed his story multiple times since, however. Right after the murders, the house was soon put up for sale, furnished, which means that all of the Defeo's furniture was left in the same spot that it was whenever the murders took place. It was December of 1975 when the Lutz family moved in. And it wasn't long before terrifying paranormal events began happening. It all started when the family called in a priest who was a friend of Kathy Lutz to bless the home. The priest had claimed that he heard a voice yelling at him to get out, and he drove home with painful blisters on his hands, at which point he warned the family to never step foot into that room ever again. George Lutz apparently began hearing voices and knocking sounds around the house. Doors would shut all on their own, and some were ripped from their hinges. Kathy Lutz claimed that she found a secret room which was not a part of the home's original plan, which was painted in blood red. The unseen force would also slam cabinet doors shut. A knife was knocked down on the kitchen counter all on its own. And George would apparently wake up in a panic and sweat every single morning at 3:15, which was said to be the same exact time that the Defeo murders took place. The family would see figures moving around the house when no one was in there. They would smell strange odors in the home and also experience cold spots. George had awoken one night to see his wife, Kathy, levitating from their bed, and he had also claimed that he seen her face morph into a hideous old hag. Their sons Daniel and Christopher had apparently also been levitated from their beds as well. And a sculpted lion which they had in their home had apparently came to life and walked around and also bit George. A crucifix which the family had on the wall would constantly turn upside down all on its own. And there was a fly infestation in the dead of winter. The family was said to be attacked multiple times. Kathy even finding large red scratch marks on her chest. So this is the creepiest part of this whole story to me. Their daughter had apparently became friends with an imaginary or unseen creature which resembled a pig, and its name was Jody, which would then begin showing up in different windows to different family members in the home, glaring at them with red eyes. This entity had apparently left hoof prints in the snow for them to find the next morning outside of their windows. Green slime would ooze from the walls and keyholes. The Lutz family had lived in the home for only 28 days after moving in, and they left with nothing except for 3 changes of clothes apiece. So something definitely had to run them out of there. The family would later talk about the events which took place within the home. And it was then that a local television TV show did a segment on the home and brought in paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, along with other psychics and investigators. They all agreed that there was a demonic spirit residing within the home and that there needed to be an exorcism to stop the activity. They apparently had given the Lutz family a lie detector test, of which they passed with flying colors. And then there is the famous Amityville Ghost Boy photo. The image was captured by a man named Gene Campbell, who was a part of the paranormal investigators that were investigating the home that night. Gene had set up an automatic camera that took infrared photos to capture the second floor landing during the night. Equipped with black and white film, his camera captured the supposed apparition of the murdered child, John Defeo. Others believe this photo is Paul Blart's, an investigator working with the Warrens the night that the photo was taken. The white eyes could be caused by the infrared film. Now, every time I've seen this photo, it's always sent chills down my spine. A lot of people believe that it's fake, but to me it's just too, resemblance between the little boy that was murdered and the boy in the photo, it's just so spot on, how could it just be someone messing around? The story of the Amityville haunting has inspired many different movies and novels. And a lot of people have since speculated if the Lutz were actually telling the truth or if they made up the whole thing for publicity. Since apparently the family was in a lot of debt and they could have made up the story to help profit them. They were also put through many different legal issues as well. Some of the owners which moved in prior to the Lutz family moving out claimed that they never experienced anything paranormal. And one of the lawyers of Ronald Defeo Jr., who the Lutz family had a falling out with over money, claimed that the family and himself made up this entire story over many bottles of wine. George Lutz, even after knowing about these paranormal entities which were in their home, would dabble into the occult, which could have furthered these paranormal events or paranormal activity. And the land on which the house is built on was apparently built on the land where the, not going to be able to pronounce, I'll put it on the screen, Indians would lay their sick and dying. Ronald Defeo was apparently abused by his father, could barely hold a job, and was supposedly on drugs. Now, I also read somewhere that they brought in a psychiatrist to kind of examine him and see if he was just mentally ill, and that's the reason why all of this happened. And they stated that although he had signs of mental illnesses, he knew exactly what he was doing that night. Years later, the Lutz's son Daniel came forward and spoke about the home, stating that the house ruined his life and he continues to have nightmares about it to this day. Some people who investigated the home have came forward and stated that it was nothing more than a hoax, while others swear on their grave that these events actually took place and that the story is actually true. Regardless of whether the story is true or not, The story of the Amityville Horror will go down in history as one of the scariest ghost stories of all time. So there was my video about the Amityville Horror. What do you guys think? Do you guys believe that the Lutz family was telling the truth? Do you believe that Ronald Defeo had actually heard demonic entities telling him to murder his family? Or do you think that he was just, you know, in some state of crazy mental illness or on drugs or something? Like, what do you guys think about all of this? I believe in most of the story. Like, I believe that there was definitely something paranormal that was going on with the Lutz family, but I also believe that there were parts of the story that were made up to kind of, you know, get the story more out there. But I do believe in the story. And the Amityville Horror was always one of my favorite movies growing up, and I'm always like so into all of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cases. I don't know why, they've always been some of my favorites. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become Morbid Maniac. And if you were not aware already, I now have an OnlyFans account where I will be posting all of my sexier content. So if you're interested in that, the link to that is always in the description box below. And I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.